Boy. Um, so it's a hard one to figure right now because Indiana, right now, there's supposedly some third mystery candidate. I don't know if I believe it, guys. It's, Ben McCollum, Brad Burnell, who I don't think is really in there anymore. I think Brad Burnell will sign an extension to stay at Clemson here fairly soon. Um, and then there's a third mystery candidate, and Darren DeVries has been involved as well with the Indiana job. He's been linked to it. Then you got obviously McCollum and DeVries both involved at Iowa. So I think we have to see how it plays out first in Indiana. Because if McCollum doesn't get Indiana, he probably gets Iowa, which means DeVries returns to West Virginia. Then I don't know where Iowa goes at that point. I don't know. I would go, if I was Iowa, you know where I go? Eric Henderson. I go Eric Henderson of South Dakota State. I think he can infuse some real energy there. Um, he's won at a high level every year pretty much. He's been there. They had a young team this year of guards who are going to be really good next year. He's probably going to lose Oscar Clough to the portal. But I would say Eric Henderson. I'm trying to think if there's anybody else because I haven't really gone past the – Who? Forbes? He just hasn't gone to the tournament at Wake. He hasn't gone to the tournament.
It's a tough sell.
It'd be a tough hire right now.
One name that's Chris been tossed around. What about Chris Jans? He's a little. He's got
Jans would be somebody too.
Yeah. He played.
Yeah, I could see Jans.
Valley High School in Fairbank. I mean, maybe what else can he? Yeah. I'm not trying to say what else can he do at Mississippi State, but he's done a good job there.
Yeah.
I
agree. The key for Iowa is how much they're gonna provide in resources. Fran McCaffrey only had a little over $1 million in NIL this past year. Now that could be, again, the money people didn't want to fork over money. They were out on Fran, or it could have been the AD just said like, hey, you know what, this is what we got right now. Let's see if you can do it. If not, we're going to make a change. He's fairly new. So,
Goodman,
whatever the case, you're not going to get Darren DeVries if you don't really upgrade your resources because he's got them at West Virginia. He's got pretty good resources there.
I have a question for you, Goodman, and it's kind of a big picture question, but it has to do with Iowa because I had a conversation with someone that was involved in that search there.
He's got there. It is.
No, it's a big picture question about coach, because all right. So we saw what happened at Florida State, right? When Luke Lux got the job, he's not making a ton of money because they're taking part of that salary and they're putting it towards NIL stuff. And if you look at the way that salaries are kind of broken out at all of the professional sports, it's like 50-50 more or less, right? Like where coaches are making X amount of dollars, but the players are the ones that make the most money. And if you look at what's happening in college sports right now, these coaches have these massive salaries, and then you kind of match whatever that salary is, close, maybe a little more in some places, but the salaries of the coaches and the total salaries for all the players tend to be relatively similar. And the way that it's broken down is much more different than other professional ranks. And this guy I was talking to was saying that we might be nearing the end of coaching contracts that are like $4 million a year guaranteed for 6 years, $5 million a year guaranteed for 6 years at the high major ranks. And that we could be seeing more situations where you're looking at like 1.5 or 2 guaranteed for 3 years. If you can't flip it in 2 years, then you're out, and they can get out pretty cheap. And they're going to start cycling people over a little bit more because it's going to be about who can get the talent, and you got to be able to pay the talent to get the talent. Do you think there's anything to that?
I mean, for certain jobs, yes. I don't think it's going to be consistent and universal. I don't think Kansas is all of a sudden going to say, hey, you know what, Bill? You got to take a $4 million pay cut. Like, I don't think those jobs, the Kansas's, Kentucky's, Carolina, Duke, Arizona, the basketball jobs, Arkansas, are going to do that. But I think you're going to have the haves and the have-nots, and Florida State's a football school. Iowa, we'll see. Do they really want to be a player in this thing? And again, you're going to need somebody to step up. A lot of so right now, even trickling down to you're seeing right now this rash of NBA assistants getting hired. And even down to the lower levels, you're having these kind of odd hires right now. Radford made one. They hired a guy at SMU who was listed like 8th on their list of staff. He worked for Rick Carlisle in Indiana and Dallas in the NBA. Big analytics guy. And I think one of the reasons. And Robert Lindenberg is a very, very, very smart AD. He used to be an assistant coach at SMU. He knows basketball. And one of the reasons is the analytics part of it. The other reason is he brings some financial reward to that position as well. He can raise money. He can bring money. And you're in a league with High Point that's got $1 million right now of NIL or somewhere around there, somewhere in that vicinity. So you're thinking, unless we have money, we can't win this league. There's no way we can compete with High Point. So you've got to do something different, something unique, and that's what Lindenberg did here.